Having an effective productivity system will completely transform your workflow. You'll be less stressed, more focused, which will ultimately trajectory you towards your end goal faster. But there is a huge problem with most of these productivity systems, and that is you often spend more time fine-tuning the system itself, organizing and scheduling tasks, than actually getting to work on those tasks that are going to move the needle forward in your business or project. This is a form of active procrastination in disguise. And this problem only gets worse once you realize that a lot of these productivity systems are also quite difficult to use. They're quite complex, and I like to refer to this as high friction. It takes quite a bit of effort to use these systems consistently and reliably. But what if I told you there is a system that eliminates both of these problems and actually frees up more time so that you can focus on the tasks that will truly move you forward towards your goals? And I've used this system for myself and for my clients, who also have a lot of moving parts and responsibilities in their business or life. And the beauty of this system is that it can be as simple or as complex as you like. Now, before I show you how this system works, be sure to have watched this video here, which will explain the foundations or the fundamentals towards this system. This is a very simple and effective one, and you need to have mastered this first before going and adding an extra layer of complexity to it. Here we are in TO-DOIST. Now, I will say it again, if you have not watched my first video on how I use GTD or the getting things done method within TO-DOIST, go and watch that video first. That video will lay a really solid foundation for the advanced techniques used in here. So the first thing that's going to transform your workflow is using TO-DOIST natural language processing. That just means when you click on starting a task, which most people just click this button here, you say task 1, and now what you can do is say, do this at 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's detecting the language used, and it automatically organizes it for the date. You can go a step further here. Let's say you want to do a recurring task. So for me, maybe I want to meditate every day and remind myself to do this. Meditate for 15 minutes every day. That's going to put it to a recurring task, which means that it automatically prompts itself every single day until you tick that off. So another example of using this natural language processing, you could say finances on the 3rd of every month. You could do this for, I don't know, business KPIs. You could do this for content creation or whatever it is, whatever your business is, whatever the task is, right? But using this natural language process really helps take it up a level because you are automatically organizing and scheduling those things. So now let's go and create a bunch of tasks so I can demonstrate to you how we can start to take things to that extra level as well. So task 2, task 3, boom, beautiful. Now, this is your inbox, of course. We have your today, you have your upcoming, and you got your filters and labels. This comes into play later on in the video, and I'll show you how I use it in my workflow. For now, what I want to now teach you is using projects, right? I like to actually use projects as just categories. For me, I have business, clients, life, free time, and content. Now, here's where the magic starts to happen. Whenever you are clarifying or scheduling a task, let's take task 2, for example. Let's make this relevant so you can actually understand here. Let's say I need to create a YouTube video. Now, what category or project, remember, using them interchangeably those terms, which one does this task fit into? Well, of course, this is content. So we're going to go hashtag content, boom. Now, as soon as we click save, that will disappear from my inbox into content. You can see how this becomes very powerful. If I just want to focus on content for the day, okay, and forget about clients, hopefully no clients are watching this, but forget about clients, forget about business, life, whatever, and I just need to get that deep work in for just content, you can see how I can just focus on this. Now, let's take that a step further. Let's go back into inbox. Let's make this task 3, I don't know, content related for the sake of this video. And again, we're going to use hashtag content. But now we're going to clarify and also prioritize that task. So we can say to ourselves, this needs to be absolutely done today. This is non-negotiable. So I just put P1, okay? And that makes it priority 1. Boom. Priority 1 is red. So just to clarify here, priority 1, these are non-negotiables that need to be done throughout the day. Priority 2s, these would be nice to get done, but absolutely not essential. And priority 3s, these only get done once 1 and 2s have also been done. So this is a priority 1. And if we go onto our content, we can see that task 3, This is a priority 1, it's content related. Now let's say we had a bunch of tasks in our content project. So what we can also do is sort it by the priority. So let's say we've woken up and I just want to solely focus on content for the day, and on my non-negotiable pieces of content, I simply just sort by priority, and there you have it. You can see everything that you need to do non-negotiably to move the needle forward in your business or project, whatever the case is. So you can see how this becomes pretty powerful as soon as you start accounting for clients, business, life, free time. Now let's take things an extra step further, okay? And remember, this system is as simple or perhaps as complex as it needs to be for your individual needs. And I would always encourage you to start with the simple stuff first, master that before diving straight into perhaps filters, labels, and all that stuff, because you're just going to overwhelm yourself and you're providing too much friction, because it's not going to be easy in the beginning. So take your time, layer things on properly, and give it a few weeks, and you will be using this and you will never go back, because the clarity this brings to your life and to your business is just second to none. Okay, so the next layer is using labels and filters, or filters and labels. So what is this? I mentioned this before, but we've got priority 3, priority 2, priority 1. We don't need to go into that. But what about labels? How do we use them? I like to use them as my favorites on the sidebar here. So what I'll do is click on here and then just add to favorites. So labels can be a way of further categorizing your work. And what I like to do is I categorize it into these categories. I have my 10-minute task, 20-minute, 30-minute. Then I have my tasks that would be nice to do someday. Okay, I'm not putting a date on them. I'm not putting a priority on them. It would just be nice to do, and I like to keep them floating in the background. Then I have tasks that I can actually do on my phone. Okay, and we'll get into a little bit about this, how we use this. It's really cool. And then of course we've got my deep work tasks. So this could be content creation. This could be tasks that last longer than 30 minutes that require my full cognitive capabilities, right? Let's do another task to show you how to use labels. Task 4, we're going to hashtag this as, this is going to be client work this time, but now we're going to also label it. So I can look at, if I have a bit of spare time, I can do it when I have a spare 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or maybe it's some deep work. So now let's say this client work requires deep work. Perhaps they need a full profile setting up or just some kind of lengthy procedures. So for that, the shortcut on TO-DOIST is @ and then I'll just do deep, right? And you'll get very quick at using the shortcuts of @ and hashtag. And before you know it, you'll be doing it super quick. And then obviously this is a priority, maybe it's a priority 2, okay? It'd be nice to get done, but it doesn't need to be done today. And let's just say this is gonna be nice to get done tomorrow for the sake of it. Boom. Now, if we go on to upcoming, you can see that on tomorrow, there it is. Task 4, it's deep work, it's for the client, and it's a priority 2, okay? And you can also change this view here. I actually like to have it as list. I just think it's simple. Try to keep things simple. The last thing that I use in my productivity workflow is inbox 0. So what is inbox 0? Inbox 0 is kind of in the name. You want to get your inbox to 0. You don't want any unscheduled or unclarified tasks within here. So let's say, for example, look, we've still got finances. This still needs to be done for tomorrow, but it's floating around in my inbox. For the reason being, I haven't actually put it into one of my projects or categories that I like to use them, remember. So finances, this is business for me here. So let's just go hashtag business. And that'll be good enough to categorize it there. Obviously I could do priority, I could do a label, all that stuff. But if you just want to get to inbox 0 at the end of the day, that's how you do it. Now, what I like to do just with inbox 0, I like to have that as a recurring task every single day at 8 p.m. Okay, when I perform my shutdown routine or even routine. So inbox 0 at 8 p.m. every day, boom. And now when I go on today, we have inbox 0 at 8 p.m. And when I tick that off, it'll go to tomorrow, right? And that's what happens, okay? So you tick that off, it'll go to the next day, to the next day. That's how those everyday tasks work. So you can see how the natural language processing, the labels and filters, the categories or projects, how it all comes together, that you create crystal clear clarity, and it's always clear on what you need to focus on. Perhaps you want to categorize it in terms of priorities for content for the day, or maybe you've got a bunch of client work to do and you want to prioritize that in terms of priority 1 or 2, whatever. You can do that using this system. And yes, okay, it adds on probably like an extra 5 minutes to the end of your day in order to clarify this stuff, but it's absolutely worth the benefit that you get from this. And that was my advanced productivity workflow.